Hey everyone, welcome to Math with Mr. Antoine. I am Mr. Antoine, and today we're going to talk about finding the solution to systems of equation using the substitution method. That's right, the substitution method. Now, before we start this video, I just want to say we're going to just go into three different parts of it, or three phases. We're going to talk about phase one will be give an introduction to what this is about in terms of systems of equations. Phase two will be about the substitution method and how to go about doing the substitution method. And phase three is going to be test your solution. So let's just start with phase one, the introduction. Here we have two equations, and these two equations are linear equations. That's right, that means they will form a straight line when you graph it, all right? So let me show you what the graph looks like. Ta-da! So here it is. Here are those two equations. When you have y is equal to 6x minus 11, this is the line that it's going to make. All right, and let me just go straight further down so you can see that. If you take the second one, which is 2x plus 3y is equal to 7, this is what the line will be graphed at. Again, if you plot the points, if you plugged in values for x and y, this is what the line is going to be that will come out of it. If you take a look, the lines are going to intersect at this point right over here. Now that's the part that we're looking for right now. Where is it that these two lines are going to intersect? And they intersect at this point. The coordinate for that point is 2, 1. All right, so because it intersects at 2, 1, now we found our solution. That's what we're looking for. We want to know the solution, or where is it that the two lines are going to intersect. So that, and when we're doing systems of equations, which means that we have several graphs that's going to be on the same coordinate plane, we're looking to find out, well, where is it that they have parts where they intersect with each other? And here it is for this, for these two lines at 2, 1. Now here we found our solution using the graph paper, or using some graph and plotting the coordinates. But what happens when you don't have the graph paper? All you have are the equations. So now, if you look at it, one of these equations is in the form of y is equal to mx plus b. That's this one up here. But this one, this equation, 2x plus 3y equals to 7, is not in that form. In fact, if you did have to put it in that form, it would look something like this. Y is equal to negative 2 over 3 multiplied to x plus 7 over 3, or 7/3. And this is a bit much in terms of having to do this or to even put it on the graph. So what we're going to do is use the substitution method. Now the substitution method has 3 steps. So let's go through each step so you can see what to do. All right, first let's take a look at this. Y is equal to 6x minus 11. So this y is equal to this whole thing over here of 6x minus 11. So what we're going to do is take this and substitute the 6x minus 11, which is y, into this equation down here. So our first step is to now substitute that whole expression into the next equation. So let me take a moment to write that. It would be 2 times x plus 3, and we are now substituting the y, and I'm going to put it in parentheses. That's 6x minus 11, right? And that is now going to be equal to 7. All right, that's my new equation. So I took what I had up over here and substituted for the y. So now I have 2x plus 3 in the parentheses is going to be 6x minus 11 is equal to 7. The reason why we're doing this is because you cannot solve an equation when there's 2 variables in it. However, if the variables are all the same, we can now solve this equation by combining like terms. But before we do that, let's now, as our step 2, we're going to now solve the equations. So step 1, we did the substitution. Step 2, we're now going to solve the equation. Remember, to solve the equation, I see distributive property in here. So we start with the distributive property first. Meaning I do 3 times 6x and the 3 times 11. Or if you want to, you can say 3 times the negative 11, right? So when I do the math here, I'm going to get 2x plus 3 times 6x, which is 18x. And the 3 with the 11, or the 3 times negative 11, now I come out with a minus 33. Or you could see it the same way as saying negative 33. And that is not equal to 7. Okay, so we're starting to solve the equation. So now remember, in solving the equation, I'm seeing that these two terms can be combined, 2x plus 18x, which gives me 20x. So now I have 20x minus the 33 is equal to 7, right? And now my next thing is going to be to add 33 on both sides in order to solve the equation. And remember, what you do on one side of the equation, you must do to the other side of the equation. That's right. So now I have 20x. Remember, this will cancel out. And on the other side, it will be equal to 7 plus 33 is 40. So now I have 20x is equal to 40. Divide both sides by 20. What you do on one side of the equal sign, you will do on the other side of the equal sign. And so I have x is not equal to 2. Remember back in our solution over here, we got 2, 1. Remember that this 2 is your x value, right? And the 1 is your y value. And we just found the x value is being 2. So it's working so far. Now, all right, so the last thing we want to do now is we found our x value. So if you find one of the values, you have to find the other one. Now, to find the other one, you can now take any of the two equations that you started with, meaning you could take y is equal to 6x. Y is equal to 6x minus 11, or you could take 2x plus 3y is equal to 7. For me, I'm going to take this one up over here, all right? So let me just take that equation, and I'm going to just put it right here. Okay. So now this is our third step. So remember, let's go back to our steps again. We said step 1, we had to take this, we substituted this expression into the other equation. Once we were able to do that, we will now have an equation where now there's one same variable of x. The second step we had to do was to now solve the equation. And when we solved the equation, we got x is equal to 2. The last step that we're going to do is going to solve for y now by using one of the equations. Y is equal to 6x minus 11. All right, and we know that x is equal to 2. Just box that in, that we have that. X is equal to 2. So now I'm going to substitute my x with 2. Y is equal to 6 multiplied by 2 minus 11, right? And so y is equal to 6 times 2, which is 12, and 12 minus 11. So we have, right? So we have y is equal to 12 minus 11. So y is equal to, ding, 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 1. And remember, we saw that here when we found that the y is 1. Okay? So there you have it. We now have our solution that is going to be, for the coordinate, will come out to be that the x is 2, y is 1. And keep in mind, if you're writing it as a coordinate, the x value always goes first. So that means it's going to be 2, 1, right? Remember, that represents your x value and your y value, and your x goes first, all right? And then the y follows after. Okay, good. Now in phase 3, we're going to test our solution. That's right, we're going to test the solution to see if it is true. That solution has to work for both equations. Remember, that's telling us where that the two lines intersect. And we know it worked here, but we want to just test it because if we don't have the graph paper, we want to make sure that our equations or the solution that we have works in the equations. So let's test our solution. All right, let's go with the first equation, which was y is equal to 6x minus 11. I am now going to substitute the y for 1 and the x with 2, because remember, this is your x and this is your y, all right? So the y is going to be 1 is equal to 6 times x is 2 minus 11. So I want to see if 1 is equal to 12 minus 11. Well, 12 minus 11 is 1. And it works, cha-ching, on both sides. The equation, if it's going to be equal, 1 is equal to 1 is equal to 1. So that means that this solution is good for this equation. All right, let's try the second one. The second one is going to be 2x plus 3 times y equals to 7. So that will be 2 times 2, right, for x, plus 3 times 1 for y is equal to 7. Okay, so let's now do the math. Remember, you're following the order of operations. We have multiplications to do here. So then we're going to do 2 times 2, which is 4, and add it with 3 times 1, which is 3. And we want to see if that's equal to 7. Well, what's 4 plus 3? 7. So that means that this is true. This solution makes this equation true. So now we found out that this here, 2, 1, is actually the proper or the correct coordinate for these two linear equations. That's it from everybody from Mr. Antoine. I hope this made it a little bit clearer. Check out the next example to see if you can do it. Good luck and do well. Love and peace to you.